Hello, and welcome to Sitters Baked Goods. Today we're going to be making Polish egg bread. The actual name will be the title. I will not be able to pronounce that. It's a nice simple dessert, and it's very good with just milk or just on its own. Add a little bit of jam if you're feeling adventurous. But let's get started. So, it's a milk bread. So we're going to get this butter melted. Then we're going to mix most of our sugar, all of our sugar and with most of our milk. And then all of our salt with the last little bit of milk. So first, let's get that sugar in. Pour the milk in. Again, the majority of it. Then we're going to put the eggs. There you go. All three. Throw those out. Then we're going to put our milk in here. The last little bit of it. Mix that up with the salt. We're going to mix the eggs up first before we put in the salt, so that it doesn't damage anything major. Once it's all mixed up, then the egg or the salt can't really curdle anything. There we go. Then we're going to put the flour and the yeast together. Now I used cold milk. If you are fast, use warmer milk. I was just going slow, making sure I got everything right. So I'm going to be using cold milk. So we're going to mix in our milk with the sugar into the flour first to get that yeast going. Then we'll add in the egg, milk, and salt. We don't want to kill the yeast right away, so we're going to feed it first with the sugar, then add the salt for the flavor. After we add all that, we'll add in the melted butter. Obviously, make sure that you're scraping everything in. Makes it easier to clean, and it makes sure that you get all your ingredients in. So let's just mix this up a bit before you mix in the next ingredients. There we are. You don't need to mix it too crazy. Just about like this is good enough. Then let's add in that egg. Remember how I have one dirty hand, and I keep my fingers dirty, not my whole hand, so that I can hold it like this without getting the bowl dirty and losing any ingredients. So now let's keep mixing this up. Now that butter, it's fully melted, but it's not hot. It's just warm enough to be fully melted. Once this is fully mixed in, then we'll add in the butter. Okay, once the butter's melted in, poured in, not melted in, we're going to form it into a nice ball and then let it rest once I've kneaded it to bounce back. There we go. Now you're obviously going to want it on the table to knead it. It's a lot easier. Make sure you get everything out of your bowl. And then we can start kneading it. Just like you do any other bread. And let's put everything, make sure you wash all that once your bread's done resting. Just a little bit of flour. This is a soft dough. It will soak up a lot of flour, so just a little bit to help you knead. You don't need to add too much. Once it's done kneading, put it back into your bowl, cover it with plastic wrap, and let it proof till double its size. Once it's double its size, we can take it out again and form it into the balls. Make sure you punch down as well. Once you've punched it down, we can now start kneading it. Just to get it back into its form. Get the gluten working again. Then we're going to cut off our pieces. So this recipe is for 12. So I'm going to weigh out 12 equal pieces. Each piece should be between 150 and 155. So we're just going to keep going till we get all 12. Once we get all 12, we're going to start rolling them into balls. This gets the ball nicely formed so that when we roll it out into strips, it's not all bumpy and ugly looking. Also, it tightens up the gluten again. It's kind of like kneading as we go. Make sure you cover everything with plastic wrap so that it doesn't dry out. What you can use that is better is a wet cloth. Just make sure it's a clean wet cloth. And not soaking wet, just damp. That's all you'll need. And you see how I use the bottom of my hand to curve the bottom out? That will make sure that the bottom is nice and round as well. So that even though it has that ugly bottom, it's still quite clean looking. See? Now that we've rolled all them out, we're going to roll them all out into long strips. Cut them into 3 parts. Let those parts rest so that it's easier to roll out again, and then we're going to braid those. So just like that. Cut them into 3 equal pieces. If you're having troubles doing it, make it into an S shape. So it's easy to see where you need to cut. Just like that. Then I'm just going to do that with the rest. Roll them out. Make sure that it's nicely even when you roll it out so that when you make that S, there's not big pieces for one side and small pieces for the other. You want it all to be even. If you want, you can weigh it. It'd be 50 grams each. 52 grams maximum. Now that they're all done, just roll out each piece and then we're just going to do a simple braid. I also saved some of the streusel from last week that I did on those apricot cages, and I'll be putting those on top once it bakes, or sorry, right before baking. Now it takes me a little while to remember how to braid it properly, so these first few braids, it's going to take me a little while and to remember. But once I remember, it's quick and easy. All you have to do is outside in, outside in. it's harder to do the inside out because you forget how you're doing it. And that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm forgetting that I'm doing inside out. So then it's just confusing me a bit. But once I get going, it's fairly simple. Just like that. And then right at the end, you fold it down to make the butt on the bottom, because that's the bottom side. And then outside in, a lot easier to do that side. And then again, press all of them together and fold it down. Then you get a nice little braid like that. So again, I'm forgetting. So I'm doing inside out, inside out. Either way works fine. Just do what you're most comfortable with. I like to do the outside in, so a lot simpler for my brain to work that way. And then you just keep going till you form that butt at the very end. Fold it downwards to be the bottom. Then finish the other side. And remember that if you do outside in on one side, it's going to be inside out the other side, unless you flip it over. And if you flip it over, it becomes outside in again, or inside out, depending on which method you're using. See, again, because I'm still used to the outside in, I'm still going super slow with these. Which means this is great practice for me, so that I can get used to remembering which way I'm better at. Oh, there we go. See, a little butt on the bottom. Doesn't look as pretty, so make sure that's the bottom side. There we go. I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to show you all of them so that you get to see how I keep doing the braids, and so that you can get a good feel for it. Finally, I remember outside in, outside in. Sort of. There we go. So much quicker for me. It just works so much easier for my brain. And then, because I'm good at that, I flip this over, and now it's outside in again. But remember, that is your bottom, so when you put the three pieces together, fold it upwards instead of downwards. Just like that, because that's going to be the bottom. Flip it back over. There you go. Easier. Now that they're all done, these are what they look like. Make sure you let them rest for half an hour till they double in size again before baking. Then we're going to egg wash and then put streusel on. There we are. So let's egg wash them. Look at how beautiful they are. Nice and fluffy. Looking good. So just a quick little egg wash. Don't put too much egg. You don't want scrambled eggs. You just want a nice shine and for the streusel to stick. Nice. Look at that shine. Looking good. Almost done. There we go. Just about there. And you always want to do this right before you bake, so that the egg wash doesn't dry out. You want it to dry out in the oven. It gets a nicer shine. if you do it that way. Here's a streusel again. Just the same as I used the other day. Same recipe. Recipe will be in the description. You just sprinkle that on top. This gets a nice cookie, not texture, but a nice cookie taste to this bread. Which makes it that much better. This is a dessert bread, so go wild with it. After it comes out, you can let it cool down for 10 seconds, then put on some icing sugar or a glaze of some sort. Or after it's cooled down, have it with some jam or caramel. You can do whatever you want with it. So 20 minutes, convection 375. My oven's not the greatest, so that bottom rack, even though it's on convection, which should heat the whole oven at the same speed or heat, the bottom one is still a bit less than the top one. So it's hard to tell with my camera, but those are a bit lighter than the other ones. So I'm going to put them in for another 2 minutes. Really not that much difference. Just want to make sure they're the same color and look the same as the other ones. And now they're done. Take those out. And look how shiny the crumble. Beautiful. These are how they turned out. I will definitely be having this in my bakery. Again, I will never be able to say its name properly, but I'll definitely be trying for the future to be able to say it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I even have my own website. Thank you, and have a nice day.